Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of Phantom Push. I'm your host, Victor Q. And in this segment, this Reddit user wants to find out what is something that you've told your girlfriend, wife, that is completely untrue. And I'm going to ask you this. Have you ever lied to somebody in your life? Chances of answering yes is quite high. It's quite likely. And I have to ask you this again. Why do you lie to somebody? Is it because you are ashamed of what you did? Or is it because to protect you from getting in trouble? Or is it because you're trying to protect them? Whatever the case may be, I think that the inception of lying probably stems from just security, trying to protect either the party or parties involved from getting into trouble. But like any other development, right? The idea is always innocuous, but eventually it develops a dark side. And that is the thing with lying. Right now, this particular user wants to find out if you've ever lied to your girlfriend, wife, and if you have. And I think that most people would say yes, they have. And I think that if somebody says that no, they have not, that person is probably lying, or maybe they've changed their life for the good, right? Whatever the case may be. So in this particular segment, I think that the reason why you might want to lie to somebody, right, especially in a relationship, is possibly to protect them, right, from criticizing you for something that you did, right? Maybe you lied to them simply because you're ashamed or you think that they will scold you for something that you did. But we have to remember that in a relationship, possession tend to take place, where in some relationship, I think that you see your significant other as an item. For example, my girlfriend, my husband, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, it's usually mine, right? That's the key word. And mine usually, again, has that ownership or resonates with ownership. So when you're an item, you want to do everything together. And sometimes, let's say you used to hang out with your boys before you met your significant other. And now you're married, or now you're in a dedicated relationship to where you're not able to see them anymore. You're not able to talk about sports like you used to. You're not able to go out and play basketball, or maybe just have some good old times that you guys used to have and shoot breeze, right? Something that you're not able to do with your significant other. And we have to remember that the way that your relationship with your family, your relationship at work, your relationship again with your significant others and the rest of the world is completely different, right? So we put on this mask, we all wear different faces, whatever the case may be. And oftentimes it's just to fit in, to make the other person feel comfortable, to allow the other person to feel at ease. Again, I'm looking at this, or I'm starting this particular segment from perspective that is filled with a lot of optimism, the best case scenario, right? Sometimes there are nefarious reasons why somebody might want to lie to their significant other, be it the husband, the boyfriend, or be it the girlfriend or the wife. For example, in this situation, right, instinctively, what comes to mind when you hear that question, lie plus girlfriend slash wife equals, oh, he's cheating. People automatically think that, oh yeah, the guy is definitely cheating. There's no reason why he should lie to you, or there's no reason why she should lie, to him. The thing is that sometimes you do that to protect the person that you are with. Right? You do that to protect them. You do that, perhaps you don't want them to think less of you. I remember I had a friend of mine, she included her husband as well, and she was telling me that she was ashamed to show her husband the neighborhood that she grew up in, simply because, it's a disenfranchised community, that he would probably think less of her if he knows that she grew up in a neighborhood like that. And my reply to her is that, you know what, this is somebody that you like. So this is somebody that you love. You love this person. You like this person as your friend because they were always together. So I think that to spend so much time with somebody, you have to like them. You know, that haven't has nothing to do with love. But this is somebody, this is your guy. Sometimes I think maybe we can be a little bit vulnerable by you maybe showing the neighborhood that you grew up in. He also loves you. So I don't think it's going to really change anything. But that was what she told me. And I think that in relationship, for example, like in the early stage of relationships, right? Everybody always put their best foot forward. You know, you're fancy, you buy flowers and you open car doors and you dine at the fancy or fanciest restaurant. But then after that, what happens? It's the bickering, the arguing, and sometimes it gets a little bit more physical, right? But coming back to why men would lie to their significant other is just simply to protect them. That's the best case scenario. And sometimes darker side of that is because maybe they're hiding something. Maybe they're involved in a nefarious lifestyle that they don't want to expose you to. And or maybe the one that everybody always assumes. Maybe they're cheating. Maybe they have a side piece, if you may. And that's why men do what they do, or that's why I would say just not men. That's why people do what they do. And at some point, right, everybody needs an outlet. Being in for example, being in a relationship is something that it's time consuming and you always have to be active. You always have to be cognizant of maintaining that relationship, attending to the other person. Are you listening to the other person? Is the other person listening to you? So you really have to be involved and you really have to chime in. And sometimes that can be overwhelming to where sometimes you just feel like, you know what? Yeah, I need a breather. And the way to take that breather is doing your own thing, doing something that doesn't or something that disassociates you from having that other person around. You know, maybe meeting with old friends, doing stuff that you used to do, you know, going hunting or something, you know, if that's something that you do, playing sports, if, you know, or maybe video game, something that you like. So it could be many factors as to why we might lie to the other person, or perhaps you don't want to get their feelings hurt. Most of the time, I think that it's probably because we just need to spend a little time by ourselves. That is actually or would be healthy for the relationship. Let's say if you take the cheating component, if let's say the person involved wasn't cheating, if you take that component away, I would say that yeah, time alone or time away would be a healthy way to invest in that relationship, because then when you come back, then it's like, well, now you have stories for that person. Now you miss that person. Think about it this way. If you have a dog, I don't know about cats. Cats are a different kind of animals. But if you, let's say you have a dog, you go to work or you go to the grocery store, or maybe outside to check your mail. When you come back to your pet, what happens? The pets act as if they have not seen you in months. And why? It's because they miss you. And because of their reaction, you're also elated to see them like, hey, geez, you're so dramatically happy. Human beings are not at such hyper level or hyper frequency, but I feel like, yeah, when you spend time alone, you come back, you see the other person and you miss that person. So it refreshes that segment, it refreshes that relationship. And that's my takeaway from, you know, as to the reason why anybody would lie to their significant other, you know. So maybe taking that time off, you can maybe to protect them, because depending on what you're doing, right? Depending on or what you did rather, the person can say, well, why didn't you invite me? Well, I can't believe you didn't invite me. Then guess what? Because you were honest. All of a sudden your honesty have dragged you into the mud, and now you're having to wrestle with her over your justification as to why you didn't invite him or her to whatever activity you participated in. So we tend to lie, right? Because depending on the person's history. So if you kind of know the person's signature on how they pick up on stuff like this, then you can say, well, I'm not really in the mood to get heckled or to start this drama. Then what do? You choose something, a scenario that wouldn't create conflict, even though you would much rather be honest with that person. But sometimes being honest is just too overwhelming. It sets people off. Like that one phrase, you can't handle the truth. So I think that's basically the reason why we would do something like that. What do you think? I mean, I forget about what I think, but what do you think about why somebody will lie? I'm not saying that you have lied, but what do you think about, theoretically speaking, why somebody will lie? Not you. Why would you? You've never lied before. Thank you so much for joining me in this segment. This is Phantom Push, and have a good day.